So we need to find under which conditions this expression is true. Before we start doing that, let's review what does this notation mean. So on the left side, we have the notation of the floor function. Floor function of x floor function of x takes an input x and gives the output the largest integer less than or equal to x. So floor function of x will always be less or equal to x. Well, now let's look on the right side. On the right side, we have a ceiling function. Ceiling function takes an input x and gives the output the smallest integer greater than or equal to x. So ceiling function of x is bigger or equal to x. Well, now let's see when our initial equation will be true. So first, let's consider the case of integers. For x being an integer, we see that floor function of x is equal to x, because x is the largest integer number less than or equal to x. Similarly, ceiling function of x is also equal to x because x is the smallest integer greater than or equal to x. Well, in that case, we see that our initial expression won't be true because we have that x, floor function of x, is equal to ceiling function of x in the scenario where x is integer. So that means that floor function of x is not equal to ceiling function of x minus 1. Well, so we know that x is not integer. Now we will look at the case of real numbers other than integers. So for real numbers other than integers. Let x be, for example, 2.3. So then we know that floor function of 2.3 is equal to 2 and ceiling function of 2.3 is equal to 3. And we see that 2 is equal to 3 minus 1. So we have that floor function of 2.3 is equal to ceiling function of 2.3 minus 1. So our initial statement is true in this case. So this is the statement is true for positive real numbers. Well, now we need to look at the negative real numbers, which are not integers. So case 3, negative real fraction numbers. Here we will let x be negative 2.3, then the floor function of x, the floor function of negative 2.3 is equal to negative 3, and the ceiling function of negative 2.3 is equal to negative 2. Then the floor function of negative 2.3, which is negative 3, is equal to the ceiling function of negative 2.3, which is negative 2 minus 1. Well, then we get that negative 3 is equal to negative 3, which means that our statement is true for negative real fraction. The statement is true for negative real fraction numbers. So our final answer is negative and positive real fraction numbers. So all real numbers except integers. So our answer is all real numbers but integers. And this set of numbers looks like this, r minus z.